The United States has 5% of the world's population, but almost 25% of the prisoners. Is that a problem for you? Today I'm going to tell you why Americans need prison reform. First, what has happened since the government got tough on our criminals. Then we'll talk about some statistics and injustices that are happening now. And then I will explain why we need to see a change so badly. The National Affairs says that in 1980, more law enforcement agencies were created to fight the war on crime. Longer sentences, tougher judges, and the infamous 3 strikes law. They were all implemented. At that time, there were approximately 314,000 inmates incarcerated across the country. Now there are close to 2 million and still growing. The Management Training Corporation says that this is at a cost of $81 billion to us. PrisonReform.org believes that the 3 strikes law is antiquated. People are being held accountable, but at an extreme detriment to society. A man named Curtis Wilkerson is currently doing 25 years to life. He stole a pair of socks for $2.50 for his 3rd strike. He will cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars over his lifetime in medical costs, clothing, housing, food, etc. So that's a little history of how this problem started. Now let's see what's happening today. Amanda Paulson of the Christian Science Monitor reported that President Obama, while he was speaking at the NAACP conference, stated, "There are a lot of folks who belong in prison, but over the last few decades we've locked up more and more nonviolent drug offenders than ever before, and this is the real reason our prisons populations are so high." The Center for Prison Reform cites that during a study from the Bureau of Justice that 2/3 of released inmates in the last 5 years have reoffended. 2/3 of them within 3 years and 3/4 within 5 years. It also says that 1 in 35 Americans is under some form of supervision. You and I probably know somebody who's in prison, are related to somebody who's in prison, or have known somebody who's in prison. Okay, so now we've looked at some issues, so now let's look at change. The Huffington Post reports that reform is happening all over the world. And making a difference. Focusing on education, employability skills, and substance abuse treatment has reduced recidivism in many of the countries, from 50% down to as low as 5% in some places. Management Training Corporation states that 95% of everybody that's locked up right now will eventually be released. We don't want them released just to go right back to what they were doing before for lack of services available to them. Under Governor Rick Perry, using this mantra of employability skills and substance abuse treatment and education, he's reduced the cost of incarceration for Texas by $2 billion, and the crime rate is the smallest it's been since 1968. All from treating the problem instead of locking that problem up. Reform's been on the back burner for far too long. We've seen our prison system overflowing because we're not involved as a nation to solve the problems. We need to fix the core issues that keep sending these people back to the prisons, and save the penitentiaries for the dangerous criminals that need to be kept out of society. Thank you for your time.